Call this meeting of Fayette County Commission to order. So pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is the minutes preceding meeting.
Mr. President, I'll move to suspend the reading of the last minutes of the last meeting.
Second.
Been moved and second to suspend the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Department head reports. We'll start with Jay Haviland.
Good morning.
Morning, Bud.
We've been mainly trimming trees, putting some cans in. We're getting ready to overlay a road up in Bentonville. And we were taking a paver up there Friday, and it broke down up by Brad Stars, and it's still sitting there because when it blows the hydraulic line, you're just out of luck. You just get it, if you can get it off the road, you're lucky. We did that. It's sitting waiting on repairs up there, and with the storm that come in Friday or Saturday into Sunday, our grate all went down. So it's sitting down and broke down. We won't operate from the back end of it. Something in the electronics on us went out on it. And I just want to let you know I'm going to transfer one of the guys that used to be in the garage back into the garage till I get everything caught up, because we're so far behind back there right now. He's trying to go 4 different directions at once, and he being new, he's not used to some of the older stuff, and we're just trying to get caught up.
We need that second mechanic in the worst way down there.
Yeah, it's just,
We previously had one and then it got,
right now, he's so far behind, he can't get caught up.
right. And we've got a bunch of old equipment down there which you can expect to break down.
That grate all's been a problem. Well, we put a motor in it to make it last, but we're still having a lot of hydraulic problems with it, and it's just babying along to get by until we can get something new.
Does any of this stuff have to do with the fact that this equipment sits outside?
A lot of it does. A lot of it, you just leave stuff sit outside, the weather gets to it, and just the paver, it gets used maybe a couple times a year, and it sits outside the whole time, and all the electronics on it. It's just hard on everything. Hard on the hoses,
Dry
because your
rots.
weather's on it, dry rots them.
That's the reason you don't see any farmers with their
Yeah,
equipment
that's
sitting
the
out.
main reason. And I've talked to all the other counties locally around us, and nobody leaves their stuff sit outside in the wintertime. They all put it inside. Because I went up and talked to Wayne County, and they said they take theirs to the fairground and put it in their buildings up there. Said the only thing they leave out is they got enough room for half their trucks inside, and the other half are plugged in outside. Everything else is inside.
Right.
And they just do that for the wintertime. Said they don't like to leave them out, but they have to, they have to. That's all I have.
Maybe we can solve that
Jay?
problem. Maybe.
Did you get the letter from Mr. David Flum?
Yes, he's got it's a pretty good sized ditch. I've had Jerry out to look at it, and there's really, all you can do is straighten the ditch up. You can't put a tile. If you put a tile in there, your water's gonna be on the road, and we're trying to get the water off the roads. And if you tile his, you got about 4 properties there you're gonna have to tile. And it's about $1,600 to $1,700 just to tile the front of his. That's just the tile. Because he got like a 24-inch can in there, and you'd have to put a 24-inch tile all the way down through there.
Yeah, that's right. One of mine says if you did all 4 properties, it'd be $6,512.
Yeah.
My question is, from what you just said, if you tile it, it's going to make it worse for the road, correct?
Yeah, it's gonna keep the water on the road, because when you tile it, you fill it in, and there's nowhere for the water to get off. That's why the ditch is there, to get the water off the road.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Maintenance, Bill Gray.
What are you doing?
Morning.
Morning, Bill.
My help's back this morning. A little slow, but he's back. He's been off for a month, so we're playing catch up this week. Next Monday morning, I'm going to take that and start tearing that ceiling out. Up there, I've talked to Ben. He's going to move the lines for the public access computer to the hallway. I talked to Melinda. She said just put them outside the room, but they still have access to them. So he's going to do that. And then next week we'll start on getting that ceiling down and getting the pipes apart. And other than catch up, that's all I have.
Has any of the concrete contractors got a hold of you concerning these steps out here?
No.
I had one call me that we called when
Yeah.
he was in here the other day, and
None of them got back with me.
he had come to look at it and said that the only solution was tear those steps out and put new ones in,
I just,
which I hope we can find
I
something
hope we
different.
get, yeah, I hope we can find somebody that can do something with them without tearing them out.
But something has gotta be done.
Yeah, yeah, we need to do that before winter. for
It's a
sure.
shame, brand new courthouse, we gotta start redoing.
I'll make some calls this morning, see if I can get a hold of anybody.
Right, okay.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Ben.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Ben Houston,
Morning.
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 Last week, actually last Sunday night, our mail server went down. We were made aware of the issue around 7:30 Monday morning, began the repair process. We had it back up in 30 hours, so everybody was back up and running at around noon on Tuesday. We did have to buy a repair part to get the old server limping along, and we also tried to contact all of you. I think we got a hold of Barton and saying, Frank, I apologize, I didn't realize we didn't get to you. We did go ahead and purchase a new server to replace that one. The server was built last year in April, I believe, off of existing equipment. The existing equipment was approximately 5 to 7 years old. So I was hoping to be able to wait till next year to replace this piece. I don't feel comfortable leaving the mail server running on it. So that new server should be here in the next day or two. The server that we've purchased will actually be able to run multiple servers on one piece of hardware. It's called server virtualization. It should take us money down the road. So the approximate cost of that was $3,000. The proposal I have in front of you is a project that I've been working with Metronet here in town for the better part of a year, including what we did over at the city. The proposal is to replace our existing phone system with a hosted solution that Metronet would provide. This would replace all of the phones in the courthouse, jail, annex, and community corrections, as well as the animal shelter. We cannot replace with this system anything at the highway department because they're out of Metronet's serviceable area. Currently, we pay $2,637.87 a month to Frontier for the main courthouse phones. The prosecutor has an additional bill of $107. Community correction has a bill for $198.54. When you add the internet and television costs for everyone, we pay approximately $3,205.68 a month, with $2,757.72 coming out of county general. The proposed system from Metronet would cost the courthouse $2,163.15. The prosecutor would get a bill of $98.45. Community corrections, including their TV service, would have a bill of $166.73, and internet charges will basically stay the same. The proposed monthly charges would be $2,688.18. It would be a realized savings of approximately $520 per month out of county general, which translates to about $6,200 annually. Now, this is not just replacing the phone lines coming in from Frontier. This is also new phones, Cisco IP phones at every workstation here at the courthouse, jail, annex, and community corrections.
And they furnish those, is that?
They furnish those. They keep them under warranty. We've been told, even if coffee gets spilled on them, we walk it over, they replace the phone, we come back, hook it up, we're back up and running. So this would allow us to retire all the phone systems that we have here in our complexes. Not only the phones that we've been having issues with, we have a lot of the LCD screens on the current phones are going out. I've had a lot of complaints about that. And then also just the age of the system, the main brains, if the unit was to go out, we're probably talking $1,000 at least for the most minor thing that could go wrong if we had to replace hardware. So.
And this has been over the city for about a year, right?
We've been working with it at the city for approximately a year. I think the first phones went live early this year, so I know for at least a good 6 months, most of the offices have been up over there. There is a learning curve. There's a few things to get used to, but by and large, we've had little complaints about the phone system. Metronet continues to upgrade the capabilities of the phone too. So just last week they added a new feature that we're implementing that's going to help with, it's called call parking. But so it should, that was the major one that I was actually happy for them to take care of. It's going to make the transition, I think, very easy for most of the offices. So again, with the realized savings and the ability to have a new phone system that they warranty, and they also will do all the tech work on. I mean, it's all included. The back end is in Evansville. There's a redundant fiber loop from here to there. So if a piece of fiber gets cut somewhere between here and there, there's a second path for it to go. There's no head end here. So we do rely on the internet being functional for the phones to work. But I personally used Metronet since they came to town. I've not had an issue with them on my personal account. City-wise, we've had maybe one issue that was resolved in a couple hours. So I've been very happy with their response time, with the quality of the product that they've put out, on the city side, comfortable enough to look at something like this for the county. To give you an idea of the size, we're talking 119 phones. They have done projects upwards of 700 phones. They're in plans to do a 900 phone project at a major university here in Indiana. I mean, they've got the credentials. They've done a very nice job presenting themselves, and with the savings, I think it's a good move for the county.
If we did this, Ben, and there's no one-time charge for installation, switch over, all that, it's just...
Correct. And actually, they are going to run new wiring for us at the jail. They're going to provide 17 drops at no cost to us. We might have to buy a new switch for the jail. Maybe $500 would be the only cost. And honestly, the jail needs a new switch anyway.
Is there any salvage value in this old equipment we're going to
There may be. It's not something that I've looked into. I know that there are companies interested in the older equipment, especially the stuff that sits in the server room that makes everything work. So there might be some money there. I would want to keep the existing equipment in place for a month or two, just to make sure it's going to be a good fit for us. Yeah, I think at that point we could definitely look at salvaging.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Do you want to act on this today, or do you want to study it out to the next meeting? It's kind of hard to argue with a $6,200 savings and no cost of going in.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to, per Ben's recommendation, to switch our phone systems over from Frontier to Metronet, and an annual savings of $6,235.44.
I'll second.
Moved and second to accept Ben's proposal on the Metronet phone system. Is there any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Here we go.
Thanks, Ben.
That's all I have for you, unless you have any questions.
Not this time.
right,
I don't think
thank
so.
you.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, sir.
County Attorney?
Nothing new besides that ordinance is good to go. If you guys want to,
Okay.
that's coming up next, I believe, anyway. soon.
Right. All right. County Representative Shirley, you got anything for us this morning?
Of course, you know that we're having a meeting this evening, a public meeting on the County Highway Garage, and of course, we hope to approve the budget.
Okay.
Most everything that we've been working on revolve around those two items.
So that everything gets decided tonight, pretty much. Right. The next item on the agenda is, oh no, I passed up the surveyor.
I was hoping I was in there someplace.
You're next.
I've got a change order on Bridge 82. That's the one at Village Creek and Alquina Road. The extent of the change order is $74,265.52. And what it entails is drainage issues on the east side of the new road south of the bridge from the old church up there on the hill. We had drainage issues with water coming down that hill, and then we had drainage issues of that ditch along that east side of the new road. There's a riprap, geotextile, riprap revetment, common excavation, and subgrade treatment are the items that are involved in it. And what it boils down to is it was water coming out of the bank along the east side of the road that we got into, and then we had an issue with water coming over the bank from the church up there, coming down the bank. So what we've done, we've put riprap and all that. We put the geotextile underneath that so that the dirt doesn't come up through the riprap, and that was all treated with a chemical to help stabilize that dirt in there. And that's what this change order amounts to.
Now, is that $74,000 all county money, or is that?
No, that'll be a split.
Okay,
Right, that'll be a split.
okay.
Isn't it, and I'm asking because I don't know, but isn't it a little late in the game for that kind of a change order? I mean, shouldn't they have, when they surveyed, not you, but when they did their initial survey of the situation, should they have picked up on that?
It was something that we weren't aware of until we got into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was, you do borings, and that's what you're talking about, doing borings and stuff. None of the borings showed this.
Okay.
And it was water that was just down underneath the surface about 3 or 4 feet. It's like a spring on that whole east side over there, and it wasn't found in the borings. So it was something that surfaced when we was doing the construction of it. This was back late winter, early spring is when this all came about. We just now got it all approved through the thing, so that's why you're just now getting it.
So what's the timeline for getting that bridge open, Jerry?
Probably this week.
Good.
We had a small structural crack in the bridge that we got repaired due to the fact that when they took the false work out underneath the bridge, they didn't take it out in an even manner, and it left a small crack, like one of your, well, not one of my hairs, maybe one of your hairs. But anyway, there's a small structural crack down through there, and they wanted to know what we wanted to do about it. And I said it needed to be sealed because down the road it could let moisture in. So last week we've sealed that at the expense of the contractor. He wasn't too happy about that, but we've done it anyway. This week the striping is going to go down, and we can't open the bridge till the striping's done. So once the striping's down, it's ready to open.
So you don't anticipate that crack?
No, it doesn't. I said a structural crack. It's actually just in the concrete. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual integrity of the structure itself.
Okay.
It's just in the concrete itself. That's where it's at.
Excuse me. Is there a final inspection where they go over it from A to Z? And
Yes.
Who does that?
The contractor will be involved in it. Our inspection team will be involved in it. I'll be involved in it. The state people will be involved in it. It gets pretty thorough going over.
Super. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So we need to pass this change order.
Yes, I need for you to make a motion on the
We
change.
need a motion to approve the change of the
74,000, 75,000?
$74,265.52.
So moved, Mr. President.
And I need your signatures, and the only room for 2, but somebody just needs to squeeze theirs in. You
It
can
was
look at that.
74,265.
74,265.52.
Man, that's a big change order.
Yes, it is.
And it's already done, I was saying.
But, yeah, it's history. It's just, we had to go through all the feds and the state and everybody to get everything approved.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the change order on Bridge 82. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Yeah, just sign it first. I'll take the Thanks. Sorry.
Debbie, do we have any mail?
Oh, he's got the speed
Just sign
limit,
on that next one.
speed zone ordinance too.
Huh?
He's got the speed zone ordinance yet too.
Discrimination
Jerry
against
does.
people of white here.
I thought people would know.
Third.
Don't sit down yet, Jerry.
You got the speed limit next. Speed zone.
We previously had talked about speed zone ordinance in our subdivisions, in our small towns, and we had asked Jerry to draw up an ordinance so we could put speeds. If you want to go through that, Jerry, and we'll have to try and act on that today.
Okay, I wrote an ordinance for speed zones in all platted subdivisions, which would include the small towns. Anything that's got a plat in it would include all that, and I put in that ordinance for R1, R2, R3 zoning, so that takes in all residential zoning, is what it is. So it should cover everything.
So we're talking about everything outside the city limits that isn't a town or a subdivision. Right.
Yes, right, because all the little towns, like Springersville has a plat in it, all the little towns have plats in them, so it's covered everything.
We have had several complaints about people speeding through these subdivisions where there's a lot of kids out in the streets, and I think it's time we understand that we're going to have a hard time patrolling, but at least if you do have an ordinance that they can arrest somebody if they do catch them.
The problem we have right now, probably I shouldn't say it over TV, but there's a lot of speed limit signs out there that don't have ordinances behind them.
Right.
Jerry, how does that affect the trailer courts? Like
Trailer
Trailtown and Wellsview, and does that?
Trailer courts aren't
That's
county
what I'm
roads.
asking.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
There's no county roads in a trailer court. They're not under county jurisdiction.
None of them have been turned over or anything like
Not
that?
in a trailer court,
Okay,
no.
all right.
So what is your wishes concerning passing this ordinance?
I move to accept it as presented by our attorney and Mr. Jerry.
I will second.
Been moved and second to pass the proposed ordinance concerning speed zones of 30 miles an hour in the subdivisions of small towns. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. While you're there, Jerry, out on Gabbard Road,
Right.
I had a woman ask me the other day, there's County Road 510 comes into that.
Okay.
It's in that corner, and all I see is, we don't keep that up, right? But it's still called a
We
county.
talked about, that's that little one in the corner, second corner.
Oh, it goes back to the south?
Yeah.
The sign says 510 County Road.
Okay.
But that's a road
We don't maintain that.
her complaint was that we needed a stop sign there because whoever comes out through there just plain don't stop. And
There's a lot of roads, well,
But-
not a lot, but there's some roads in the county that we have signs on, but that's due to the fact that for 911 purposes only, they're not necessarily county roads, but there's more than one.
She was concerned about a stop sign. We got a county road sign there.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why if we really don't maintain it.
Well, it's just for the emergency vehicles and stuff. It's just
Okay.
like, if you come south of Harrisburg up there, there's, to the west right there, Baker's back there, they've got 3 houses back there, and we put a sign up there to name that road that goes back to it, but it's all a private road.
Yeah, okay.
But it's just for 911 purposes only. The county doesn't maintain it.
So that isn't a county road
No.
now. Okay.
Okay. I mean, if you want to put a sign up, I mean, as long as we put it on county right away, I guess we could put a sign up, but it'd have to have an ordinance in order for it to be effective too. So,
Then again, we'd have to have a sheriff out there to catch them when they done it.
yes.
I understand.
All right.
All right. Now we're ready for mail, baby.
Okay. We received a letter from Achiever Resources, and this letter discusses their adult guardianship program, and they are requesting $5,000 to assist them in expanding their guardianship program by an additional 10 people during the next 12 months. The funds will be used for mileage expense, attending care plan meetings, office supplies, and their volunteer training program. They go on to say to receive funds from the Indiana Supreme Court in our second year of operation, beginning July 1st of 2014. They are required to receive matching funds from the counties where they serve in the guardianship program. So next year, they're going to be requesting $11,125 from Fayette County Commissioners. Goes on to say, without the county's support, the Supreme Court program funding will be stopped. And they wanted to make sure that we were aware of this larger request a year in advance. There is monies within the commissioner's budget, to pay this $5,000, and I think there is money for next year in the budget
And it's
too.
almost a mandated deal, right?
Yeah, pretty much so. Then there's also a letter that goes along with it from the Indiana Supreme Court.
And there has been a line item for Achieva
Yes.
in our
there has
budget
been.
for several years. So we need to pass this request here.
Yeah, and I guess I could get a hold of them. Sharon, I think we'd probably need a claim form signed by them, wouldn't we, for Achieva? Okay, so I'll get a hold of them and have them put through. I don't know whether you wanted to vote on it or.
Well, I guess we should.
Yeah.
Like I said, it is
It's
a
mandated.
mandated deal. and
Right.
It is in the budget and has been for several years now, and they haven't requested any money. So we should take a vote on whether to approve the claim or not. Or would you rather we just wait until we get the claim?
Well, we could wait for it, and then you could just prove it in the normal claims process.
Right, okay. Is there any more, ma'am?
No.
Next, old business, Form 11's Kathy Rhodes.
Last meeting, presented two proposals, one from that Rorel and one from the Master's Touch concerning sourcing out the Form 11 printing and mailing. And the Rorel is $7,000 and some dollars, and it's over what we even had in the postage budget. And so you were going to look at, I just presented the information to you, and Chris, I don't, you were going to see if it was approved to go ahead and outsource this printing and mailing of the Form 11s, that, do we need a contract to sign it, or?
I mean, there's gonna be a contract at some point, once you guys agree to it.
Okay. Because all they sent was
It was
a
a proposal, right? But
Yes,
y'all-
and they said some of the counties, I think they just signed the proposal and it's all right, but I wanted to check here first to see if you approved outsourcing the printing and mailing of the Form 11, that we'll have to get a contract from.
And what is that gonna save us, Kathy?
This year, it really won't save us much. We spent about almost $4,300 in postage. Plus, we have almost $500 in paperwork, and not counting the labor of the office. So, but what we're hoping, and I know, well, Shirley's here, what we were hoping, they spoke with the company in other counties too, that, and I don't know, Debbie, you mentioned too, and I talked to you about it, that eventually we could email a lot of these Form 11s. The state requires that we mail out these Form 11s, and we've gone with the first class postage, and up to 5 will fit in an envelope, and 6 after that fits in a 66 cents envelope. But this Master's Touch is able to email these Form 11s. If people, like this year, if we mail it out, and we can put a form in there saying, if you'd like to receive this Form 11 by email instead of by print, then please let us know your email. And this company too will keep track of it, and there is still a charge for tracking the email, but it would be a lesser charge than a postage charge. So we're hoping that if it would work, that we'll have email information next year. The people say, well, we want this by email, and they'll send it out by email, and if the email doesn't connect, like maybe they've changed their email, then it gets flipped back to a print. And so they'll still receive the notifications.
And it will save you some on labor in your office.
Yes.
Kathy, is this, I know when I was treasurer, this was actually legislation that came through that allowed us to send out tax statements via email, which we've not, which has never been done yet. But did is legislation in place to allow you to send them by email?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm just
don't know.
thinking if it had to be done for the treasurers to be able to send out tax statements, I would think it would have to be.
Did you say they did not allow it or did allow
No,
it?
but they passed specific legislation that allowed you to do that. And I've never seen any reference to an Indiana code that allows that. So you might check with the DLGF. I would think if they're doing this for other counties, they would know, but I just hadn't heard anything about it. And usually,
I'll look into that too.
yeah.
Give me your email after this. I'll see if there's a statute that says you can do that.
Oh, okay.
I would imagine that you can, but we'll double check.
Okay. Because I know Shirley really worked with this Jim Cote, and so it's, on behalf of council too, they were looking at means of maybe reducing the budget. So maybe not immediately this year, but it's something that could be reduced in postage costs for next year.
Did I understand you if there's a fee, albeit a lesser fee than what it is by mailing for keeping track electronically
For mailing, yes.
for mailing?
He said what?
For the emailing, basically, so they can verify who received their Form 11 by email. I mean, and it's a very small
It's like
in
12 cents.
comparison to the postage. So
So you're talking
initially,
a
there
few
is a
cents?
postage savings,
You're talking a few cents, is that what you're talking?
like 12 cents.
Oh, okay.
They verify the email address and send the email, and then give you the electronic documentation of who all the Form 11s went to by email for you. So they do all of that. And again, with the hope that each year, a larger percentage will go with the email. And like Debbie pointed out, there has been legislation to allow, or there's been discussion about the legislation to allow that. I can't imagine people going through and offering and doing these services without the legislation having already been passed, but thank you, Chris, for taking care of that. Just like Ben was talking earlier and starting the computer process in the building for the city and the county and now with the phone system, you have to start somewhere. You can't just all of a sudden convert everything overnight. And I think this is a tremendous opportunity for the county to begin to take advantage of savings. And the companies that, these two organizations that have given quotes, the average that people want to do electronic at this point is about 20%. So we're hoping that we would soon get up to, within a couple of years, 20% of the postage would be saved because you're sending it email. 20% of the people would ask for them to be sent by email instead of through the mail. So then you have your savings of the postage plus the supplies, the papers, et cetera, the envelopes and the printing and what have you. So eventually, as we improve our technical capabilities, this first step gets the listing of our properties, 14,000 pieces of properties, in such a fashion that we can correct addresses to the national or the U.S. postal addresses. Just getting those address corrections before we send out the tax statements, which we're also hoping to be able to do that electronically as well. It's the beginning of the saving stream. Have I answered your question?
And it's the
Yes.
last time, if there's any other departments too that, I don't know, other than the treasurer has mass mailing. And if this works, it may be something that's a cost savings, like Shirley said, in the future.
Additional cost savings.
And
The
if it
mail,
doesn't work,
right.
yeah, if it doesn't work, well,
You find that out immediately. But again, just like, you continue to upgrade the software in the courthouse and the computer systems, the telephone systems, this is just the next step in staying in touch with the new electronic movement. I know that the new, the abstract forms, the ones you have to fill out when you change property, allow for putting your email address down so that you can be sent
self-disclosure.
the sales disclosures. allow for that, so that right up front, they're asking to be having it sent electronically. So this is something that people are requesting.
We have to take advantage of any cost savings we can give with the budget restraints we got around here, It's just like any other business, you gotta.
And two, they check and they'll give us all the address changes and we can, on disk, and then we'll give it to the auditor because they're the ones that have to change the addresses on our forms. And then that'll also forward to the treasurer's office, so when their tax statements go out, we get, our ladies are real good about resending mail if there's a forwarding address on there. And so we send it out, but that's additional postage. Like Shirley said, this company will do it before they're mailed. They have a way of checking it. And there's a change in the postal service too next year.
That is correct.
I'm not real up on what that is.
It's not gonna be cheaper, right?
No, and it's a different way of tracking. It's going to have a special, like, strip on the bottom of the
Barcode
envelope.
strip.
And it's going to be a tracking method, and so it's,
Ultimately, that they track that they delivered the Form 11 and the tax statement to the actual recipient. They can verify it's delivered. But the new change in the postage regulations beginning effective in January, that it used to be you could pay $150 and sort your own zip codes and receive a discount taking the postage down there. And I think our treasurer's office has done that many times over the years. I'm not sure just recently. I know our church does it. If you put it in zip code order, they give you the discount, the bulk rate. Beginning January, you will not be able to get that bulk rate unless you put the barcode labels on.
That had become much harder. When I first started out, and we always sorted them in zip code order, but then you would have to put them by, and I forget what their terminology was at the post office. It was, and we sorted them, we spent hours sorting them into that order, and then they said, no, that wasn't right. So it got very difficult for you to just sort them yourself and get any kind of a cost savings through the post office.
Right. So again, like I say, ultimately, these vendors will do the verification that they delivered these to the recipient. And if they can't deliver it, of course, then the information comes back to the auditors or the assessors, the treasurer's offices, that they cannot be delivered, and then they can start up. But in the meantime, they've reduced all the mail that went out to addresses that we didn't know about, and you reduce the duplication of trying to look it up and send it. And up front, it doesn't look like a huge, tremendous savings because our people aren't counting the labor that they put into it. But whether it's the assessor's office sending out the Form 11s or the treasurer's office sending out the tax statements, it's a huge labor-intensive process. And we have to count their labor too. I mean, they're staying over and working overtime because that consumes so much of their time. That way they can continue to give the service to the taxpayers without that.
You have any other questions?
I'll double check and get back to one of you, but like she said, I can't see how that you can't do that, but I'll double check just for a reassurance.
or I could call, like, I don't know, you can check, you have your legal,
Well,
Barry Wood, I could check with Barry Wood.
I would entertain a motion that we grant her permission to sign the proposal subject to finally getting a satisfactory contract.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded.
What?
Could you hear that?
No, I really didn't.
I'm sorry, that's what I thought. I move that we approve allowing her to sign for that pending review and approval of the contract by our county attorney.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and have them write up a contract that I can, I'll give to Chris then, and he'll check it over, and then if it's all right, then he'll bring it back for your
Well,
signatures.
that contract, I mean, it is a contract, but I mean, the basis of how long we're locked into it in case it doesn't work.
Right.
should be just one batch of them,
Right.
1 year at a time.
Yeah.
One year at
As
a
in,
time.
most of the time, the companies they deal with, they just have a proposal they sign. Like,
Yeah, and that's-
well, most of our,
Well, the other one had like a proposed contract they sent. They just, I mean, what's the name of the one that we decided that, not Morel, the other one?
that master's tag,
Yeah.
Just call, is that all they do to initiate a new bid, like?
usually. But I told them, I said, usually whenever we have a contract here, or any work like this, the commissioners go ahead and sign it and approve it. So, but for the most part, they don't really tie into a contract as such for time. So I'll check that too to see how they handle any other county that requires a contract.
We do have a motion on the floor.
And Chris, could that go in like year by year?
I mean, I would think
Stay in
so.
the contract?
Yeah, I
that
mean, it'd
this
be
is-
just a option 1 year at a time. Unless, I don't think you'd want to do, or it'd be up to you guys, but just see how,
Yeah.
they can't, I mean, they're not gonna lock you in for more than a year.
No, they didn't seem at all to want to do that.
Yeah.
It's just on a year-to-year basis, but I'll just tell them, put wording in there that's suitable for, we're gonna do it on an annual basis, and either company is allowed, you know, the county or the company can,
Terminate after
Terminate.
the year.
is that all right?
I mean, they should have some sort of form, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Huh? Did you say? I said.
James, we
Sorry.
have a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, thank you.
New business, next item on the agenda is Debbie Williams from the Fayette County School concerning the County School Safety Commission.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for having me this morning. I'm not sure how detailed Dr. Hodges' letter was, but if you can think back to last year's legislative agenda, after the Sandy Hook violence, there was a move from our legislatures to provide more money for school safety, both people and equipment. For the past at least 6 years since I've been with the corporation, I've served as the school safety specialist for the corporation. Each of our schools has its own school safety team. Those teams meet regularly. We each have a school safety plan. We meet at least once a year formally to discuss these plans and upgrade them. Every building has a trained school safety specialist. That means that we attend 2 days of training every year through the Indiana Department of Education. We also work with law enforcement, Sheriff's Department, City Police, and as part of this new, the monies that have been made available through SEA 1, we are also asked to form a county school safety commission. So that's my purpose here today, is to ask you to form this commission. Actually, I got the cart before the horse, and I did call members of this commission together. Everybody, all the law, the code does define who needs to be there. So we had everyone in attendance. Our state trooper who is involved with us had an emergency come up, so he was not at the meeting, but he is in support of this commission. And by having your blessing in establishing the commission, we can move forward with applying for a $50,000 grant, which we hope will enhance our ability to provide school resource officers and additional equipment in our buildings.
Well, this is something I'm passionate about as far as school safety, because stuff like that shouldn't, like with Sandy Hook, shouldn't happen. And so it's important. You know, I've got small kids in school, and all they want to do is go to school and play and come home and learn, and that's it. They should. So as far as having a safety team in place, I don't think at any route that we should do whatever we can to keep it safe. So.
Presently, we did update most of our buildings after Sandy Hook. We added additional cameras
and all of our buildings now have secured entrances to them. And as you know, the high school especially is a hard campus to patrol with so many buildings and so many open doors, but we're working on solutions for that also, so.
So what is it you need from us, Ms. Williams?
Excuse me?
What is it you need from us?
I need from you
Establish the
your
commission.
commission, for the commissioners to establish this Fayette County School Safety Commission.
Which you already have. Right? It sounds like a good proposal to me.
And your board members are police officers and state
Yes,
troopers? and-
the code actually establishes who has to be on that commission, and it's, at our meeting, we had representatives from all the schools. The code calls for the largest school in the county to convene the meeting, and they voted me in as the chairperson. Sheriff Wason was there, Chief Counselor was there. Like I said, our Sergeant Metcalf is supportive, but he was unable to make it that day. The school superintendents, all of the principals, we had agencies represented from Centerstone, Whitewater Care Pavilion, the prosecutor's office, Judge Bush. All of those players were supportive of this commission.
I guess.
We need a motion to establish the commission.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve establishing the safety commission for the schools. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank
There you go.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's all the items on the agenda. Do we have any patrons' concerns? Sir?
Oh, we forgot one thing.
What?
I'm so sorry. We forgot the Everton Regional Sewer District, that right there in your hand.
Oh,
How did I forget that? I should have brought that up during mail. I'm so sorry.
the terms of Kenneth Whiteside and Richard Kidd are expiring September 29th of this year for the Everton School Sewer District. Both of them have agreed to serve another year, and the board voted and requested that we reappoint them.
I would make a motion to reappoint the Kidd and Mr. Whiteside.
Okay, you said a year, is actually, not just 4 years.
4 years.
Okay, 4-year term, okay. I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that both gentlemen be reappointed to the Everton Sewer District. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry, I'm I for. I was drinking coffee, I'm sorry.
Motion carried. Now, are there any patron concerns? If not, need a motion to approve the claims of the payroll.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, the claims and payroll be approved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Nothing further on the agenda. Entertain a motion, we adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, this meeting be adjourned. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, meeting adjourned.